Um, First of all, I just want to know the motivation behind switching from a commercial enterprise to a social enterprise. So I know you were a hedge fund manager and then you decided to switch to a more social enterprise sort of ordeal. What was the motivation behind that and how did it go?
Easy one. So, hedge fund manager, earning an absolute fortune, living in Switzerland as a tax exile. And then I had an encounter with God. And that was quite significant. And so then after that, things were put into perspective. And I realized that I could do so much more rather than just working for myself and filling my own pockets. And so, because I had a significant amount of money, that's when I thought, where could I make the most impact? And Africa came to mind. So I went to Zambia where I had connections. So that's what made me make the move from commercial here in Europe to Africa.
Okay, cool. Yeah, could you just tell me a bit about Mama Buci and what they do? How did you initially meet the people in Zambia and how did all of that go?
So going back a little bit further before Mama Buci, when I went to Zambia, I managed to get some land off the government, 3,000 hectares of land, and I implemented massive banana plantations, sweet potatoes, wheat, and all stuff like that. Put infrastructure in, so we pumped up water from the Zambezi River, the Great Zambezi River. We were near Victoria Falls, pumped the water up and had these big central pivot points and fed the land, and it failed. I couldn't do the job quick enough. I did it on the back of a European business plan. Everything in Africa goes wrong. It went wrong. And eventually Barclays Bank took the farm off me because I couldn't pay the interest back, which was high, at about 14%. I couldn't pay the interest on the loan. So I lost that farm. I had another farm in the north of Zambia in the copper belt, which wasn't as expensive. And I contracted a disease called bunchy top, where aphids fly across in the air and they kill them. They don't kill, but they do something to the plant, the banana plants, and the bananas don't grow big enough. And with bad management and other problems, I lost both farms after 5 years. And then I met a Methodist missionary guy that was quite entrepreneurial. And beekeeping in a large scale has never happened before in Africa. If you think about honey on the shelves of your supermarkets, you've got honey from various places around the world, but the whole continent of Africa, there isn't any African honey. Yet it's the only continent that's not been commercialized with crops and stuff like that. So I invested more money in that project, and we eventually got the model right, where we build beehives, flat pack beehives, and they're called top bar beehives. They're simple and basic, and we hoist them high up in the tree to about the level of the ceiling, and you wax the inside of the hive with beeswax, and you leave it there, and after 3 weeks, naturally, you get a swarm. A swarm is about 20, 30,000 bees.
Blimey.
Then after 9 months, you can harvest that beehive. And it took 2 years to get right, and a lot of money, and a lot of things went wrong. And the model is we give 10 to 20 beehives to each family that lives in the bush through a cooperative network. And then we harvest them twice a year in December and in July. And we give them cash for the weight of the honey. So we weigh the honey in white buckets. And it's not just honey, it's wax, it's everything. Everything goes in, all the muck, the whole thing. We weigh it, we give them about $1 per kilo cash. And then we take it back to the central processing plant and filter it so it comes out as nice honey.
Okay.
And so there are about 10 or 20 cooperatives all around the country. And we've built over 120,000 beehives, and we impact over 10,000 families. And
Right, okay.
with some of the profit from the honey that I sell in the UK, I'm able to fund the school that I built in Zambia with 370 kids. It pays for the salary every month and so forth. And
Okay.
I'm building another school in Ethiopia, and the honey will pay for that as well.
Wow, that's incredible. So is that along the lines of the Give Hope to Africa?
Yeah,
That's along the lines of that. So I was going to ask you about that. So that's all of the schooling part then, is it?
yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, cool. And finally, I've got one more question, is what do you see the future of Mama Bucci being? It's say in 10 years, where would you see the business?
That's a great one. I like that question actually. I I'm in Costco in the UK. I'm also in 550 Holland and Barrett shops and lots of little other shops and Selfridges, fancy shops. But I'm in Costco on special events. So like today I was in Manchester selling the honey in Haydock, and then on Tuesday I'm setting up a stand in Trafford Park, and that will be there for 2 weeks. So I've got 5 stands roaming around the country. There's 30 Costco's in the UK. Well, last week I was told by the head office to go to Liverpool, be there by 4 o'clock. When I say last week, I mean last Tuesday, because the CEO of Costco worldwide was going to be there. Now, just put it into perspective. There's 630 Costco's in the US and there's only 30 in the UK.
Yeah,
Costco turns over 370 billion a year.
yeah.
So I was there standing on the stand, didn't expect anything. And he came around with his entourage and he stopped at my stand and said, "What's this?" I told him the story. He said, "This is great. I love it. Love the story. Love what you're doing." He tasted the honey. He thought it was great. So on Tuesday afternoon, I've got a meeting with Costco USA, and they're going to work out how to integrate me into the States.
That's
Now,
fantastic news.
if they do that and I'm able to sell all the honey that we produce, because at the moment I sell it to South Africa in shipping containers at a loss almost.
Okay.
Um, if I am able to sell the honey to the States, I'll sell about 2 million jars of honey, and we can build another 100,000 beehives on top, which will impact another 10,000 families. And that 2 million jars of honey is the equivalent to $3 to $4 million worth of profit, which means I can build more schools, I can build more beehives, etc., etc. But that's not what I'm thinking in 10 years. In 10 years, I'm wanting to build 500,000 beehives, not just 120,000. I'm in the process of having the honey tested at biotech laboratories in Newcastle with the university. They've tested it and found that it's got all these medicinal properties that are more powerful than Manuka. When that is published in March, so it'll be tested thoroughly at a high cost actually of 50,000. When that's tested, they'll publish the results and will be like the next Manuka. So the honey will be an extremely premium honey. Not only that, we're developing 2 creams. Honey has an activity, a medicinal activity in it that heals your skin and it's anti-aging. So we're producing 2 creams, a night cream and a day cream, anti-aging. And I want to launch a cosmetics range. So in 10 years, I would very much expect there to be a cosmetics range out, which will be at the end of the aisle of Boots or wherever it may be, but it'll be high end and it's genuine. It's not pharmaceutical stuff. It's natural product,
Yeah.
um, as well as building another building another 500,000 beehives. That's the 10-year plan.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. That's brilliant.
Things will spin off from that. So
Yeah.
just an example of what I'm hoping for. If you think of the high street, and you look down the high street and you look at all the brands and think of the high streets all around the world, and there are brands from Italy, France, America, Canada, Australia, China, Japan. Every continent is represented on the high street except Africa.
Yeah.
And it's a huge continent. So I'm hoping that we will have a brand that will be superior and will be high end and we will represent Africa. So that's my 10-year plan.
That sounds brilliant. It looks like it sounds like you've got a real scope going there, and I really hope it does plan out for you because it's brilliant. And I think what you're doing is really inspirational. One final quick question. You don't have to answer this. It's absolutely okay. How do you think we can inspire more people to do things like what you've done, to become a social entrepreneur and to start social businesses and stuff like that? Because I feel like a lot of the younger generation are all quite financially motivated, and I feel like it's becoming more increasingly important to do social entrepreneurship, to practice it in your day to day, and to have social enterprises coming up just like yours. What do you think we can do to keep that going?
Yeah, it's difficult because I was in the fortunate position where at the time I had money, so I could try these different things and fail really radically. So I
Yeah.
don't think I'm particularly any good at this. It's just I had a chance to fail.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that what the younger generation could do is just be more careful in how they do in how they start off projects and consider the environment. And I think that generation also are more aware of what they're buying, and they like better packaging. They like so, for example, you would it would be much easier for you to get the message across on social media than it was for me, because I'm not
Yeah.
in age bracket. I find it really difficult, and I have to hire someone and pay them 600 quid a month just to
Yeah.
post. I don't even look at what she's posting. But I think you guys have an advantage over me, that you know what people like, you know what they want. So they're going to have to find a product that will tick all those boxes, and that products that are kind to the environment, and
Yeah.
products that people want, that will benefit people that are in a less privileged position, and also employing people that need a break. There's a lot of people that have been deprived and had problems. And I was listening to a podcast just today on the way back from Costco. This guy started a social enterprise in the UK, making biscuits, and he has all these ex-prisoners and people that make the biscuits. And a high-end biscuit, it's a wrapper that's disposable. The quality of the biscuit's amazing, and he has hassles with people, but he makes that extra effort
Yeah.
uh, to employ them, and they're very grateful. And the business has worked, and now the biscuits are selling everywhere,
Yeah.
to corporates and people like that. Because he's doing this, and it's being shared on social media, the big corporate companies like British Rail, or not called British Rail, but whoever, the big train, they're buying it from him because he's telling the story. So because he's got the story that goes with it, he's also got a cleaning company, but he's employing cleaners. They're out of work, that have,
You're right.
refugees, all the rest of it. So he's
Yeah.
making it to target those people, to
Yeah.
make a change. And so he gets bigger contracts because he's making a difference.
Yeah.
So, and he's not big scale, he's small scale.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're a very busy man, so I'll leave you to it now, but I really appreciate you answering my questions. And yeah, brilliant. I hope it all goes well for you.
All right, cheers.
Lovely to meet you, Martin.
See you, Matt.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye bye.